Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of The Herd with Colin Cowherd talking about the Dallas Cowboys and the importance for them to get a running back, and how Dak Prescott is so much better of a football player when they have a legitimate running back. I think that's an accurate statement, because anytime they ask Dak to throw like 40 plus times or whatever the cutoff is, I forget exactly, his record just plummets. And when they have a rusher who's rushing for like 100 yards or so, his, win percentage is significantly higher. But I think those statistics can largely be misleading, not to mention Dak, a lot of these numbers that we're looking at it when Zeke was, fresh into the league, brand new, was a beast, was ferocious, and Dak was like a rookie. Dak was a baby. So it's just hard to compare those beginning years for both of those players to the latter years of, say, Dak Prescott's career. So I'm curious to see what Colin has to say with regards to this, and then we can break it down from there.
On X, get ready to take the blame, Dak, because I really don't see any help coming your way unless a miracle happens. Everybody in the NFC East made moves and got better during free agency except the Cowboys. Well, they did re-sign their long snapper, so there's that. We've said this for years. The Cowboys tend to be really, really insular. It's a small family business worth a lot. They believe their draft picks are the players of the future. Almost always, and I think that's a problem. I'm not a big believer in spending big on free agency, but you got to spend something, because the Eagles got better. Washington's getting significantly better. The Giants, who knows? But as of today,
the Giants are not.
There's a very poor running back class. This is a bad running back class. There is no first rounder, arguably no second rounder. The Cowboys running back right now, this is their running back, is tiny. 6th round pick Deuce Vaughn. That's it. It's why the smart people and the smart teams are gobbling up running backs. Doesn't it feel like running backs are having a very good offseason? Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh have gone out and gotten a top running back. Derrick Henry to the Ravens. Josh Jacobs to the Packers, a well-run franchise. People like Adam Peters, the new GM in Washington. He goes and gets Austin Eckler from the Chargers, a running back that can catch and run. Texans had a great draft. Nick Casario, their very smart young GM. They go out and get
Eagles.
Joe Mixon. Saquon Barkley to the Philadelphia Eagles. Gus Edwards to the Chargers. So the smart coaches and the smart teams are saying it's a bad running back draft. Let's gobble up the guys we have for the right price. Cowboys, nothing. And why does it matter? Because there are some sobering numbers and data on Dak Prescott that are almost hard to believe until you look at him. Since Dak Prescott has been in the league, this is pretty amazing.
See, this is what I was talking about. Here, we're going to let him explain it too, but I just wanted to pause it so we can definitely take a look. This is what I was just saying. 100 plus rush yards, he's 64-17. Less than 100 rush yards, 9-24. That is a massive, massive drop off, okay? Less than 30 rush attempts, 20 for 34. More than 30 plus, 57-3. That's a huge drop off. People believe that Dak Prescott is someone that he's not, okay? He is a really good quarterback. Kind of a lot of things that I was saying about Kirk. He's a good person, someone who you want on your team. He doesn't let the emotions get the best of him. He's not getting in fights. He has no problems off the field. He's great in front of the mic. I mean, I think he's only had like one mic slip up in his entire career when he said that it was good that the fans were throwing trash at the refs, which I think he should have obviously never said, which he then apologized about. Besides that, though, he's been pristine. I'm an Eagles fan, and I like Dak Prescott. I do. I think he's a good person. Like, I don't want to see him just fail and crash and burn. So, but people believe that Dak is like kind of like a Mahomes or kind of like a Josh Allen because he can do some fancy things. Dak can move around the pocket. He can make some great throws, but he feasts on terrible teams, and he's great at it. And again, credit to him because not everyone can do that. But he can feast on terrible teams, and he doesn't really ever step up against the good teams. It's why he has a losing record against winning teams. I will say that again and again and again because it's the reality. He is a good quarterback who can do great things, but he can't be great all of the time. He can't be great enough at a high enough percentage to be considered great. What makes Patrick Mahomes so great is that he can do great things in like 9 out of 10 games, majority of the games. Dak Prescott can do great things like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10. I don't know. I'm obviously making up numbers here, but that's the difference. That's what we're kind of dealing with. So when you see a game of Dak really balling out, you're like, that is that dude. See, as long as he does that, no one can stop us. But he can't do that every game. And he can only ever really do it when the team isn't that amazing. Anytime he plays a really great team, one of the only good teams that he ever really plays that well up against is the Eagles. And that's because, interdivision play is always very competitive and the teams know each other very, very well. They know their strengths and weaknesses. And that's why I always take issue when people say that Dak chokes in the playoffs. He doesn't choke. The moment doesn't get to the best of him. I do not believe that. I believe that Dak believes in himself and can handle it. The moment does not get to the best of him. That's what choking is. He's just not good enough to succeed against the best teams consistently enough to really give you that fighting chance of like, oh yeah, we'll definitely win 2-3 playoff games. We're going to get to the Super Bowl. We're going to do it. We can go toe to toe with the Eagles in the playoffs or the Packers or the, whoever is at the time. He is not good enough and the team is not good enough. And I don't think ever the coaching is good enough. So we can make all these excuses what we want, but the truth is that the Cowboys have for the last 3, 4, 5 years have largely been a B team, B to B plus team, who get A pluses, perfect scores against the bad teams. But then when they play the good teams, their B comes out. And sometimes they even slip into a C because when you face another team that is bringing their A game, by comparison, it's just night and day. So then people say, well, they choked. No, they're just not as good as everyone wants them to believe they are good. They are. And this is what a good franchise would do. They would look at these numbers and say, wow, we need to go out and get Saquon Barkley. But they didn't do that. Okay? They said, wow, we could get Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was a bargain. I think Derrick Henry wouldn't have been the play because I think he's older and I don't know how great he's going to be. I don't think you can, give him the ball 30 times, 12, 15 games, however many games he ends up playing this season. You have to imagine he's going to get banged up at least a game or two. Not to mention it's not like he's always going to be the only one, carrying the ball. But regardless of that, it would be wise to go out and get yourself a running back and make it easier, make Dak's life easier. But the Cowboys just don't do that.
30-plus rush attempts behind him. He's virtually impossible to beat, 53-7. Less than 30 rush attempts, he's not a very good quarterback, 20-34. But this is more sobering. If Dak just gets 100 yards rushing, again, he's Mahomes. He's 64-17. If he gets less than 100 yards, Dak Prescott has 9 career wins. That's it. And the Cowboys are making no move at running back. It is very clear, indisputably, inarguably clear. Dak is a completely different quarterback with a run game. Now, Josh Allen and Mahomes are better quarterbacks. They don't need it. I mean, Mahomes and Josh Allen regularly in big wins, playoff wins, they're the leading rusher. That was Mahomes in the Super Bowl. But once again, the Cowboys fall into this, we're smarter than everybody else. We're just going to go back with our guys that we drafted. For the record, the very well-run Philadelphia Eagles, who have been to 3 Super Bowls since the last time the Cowboys were in one, it's a revolving door of running backs. They're acknowledging all the time, hey, this receiver, A.J. Brown, he's better than the guys we drafted. Hey, this running back, Saquon Barkley, he's better than the guys we drafted. The Eagles have no problem acknowledging, and this is what smart companies do, we don't have all the answers. Some of our draft picks, we guessed wrong. Our scouts missed. We'll go buy somebody on the market for a reasonable number. And the way Philly's doing it, as this league pivots to offense over the last 5 to 10 years, look at the Eagles' offensive skill people. A highly athletic quarterback, Jalen Hurts, moving into his prime. Excellent tight end, Dallas Goedert. 2-star receivers, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and a top 3 or 4 running back, Saquon Barkley. That is an all-star cast. You would not be surprised if any of those or all of them made a Pro Bowl next year.
Oh,
the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, and cross your fingers on CeeDee Lamb's health. That's their guy. And they're making no moves in free agency. So, I mean, Philadelphia and Baltimore have very, very dynamic running quarterbacks. Dak no longer, due to injuries, runs like he used to. He's okay. He's not special. And Philly and Baltimore, knowing that, went out and got star running backs. Why? To lessen the burden on superior quarterbacks.
And it's 100% accurate. Obviously, I'm going to be a little bit biased because I am an Eagles fan, but it's based off of reality. Okay, the Eagles have gone to the same number of Super Bowls in the last 7 years, and Dak Prescott has playoff wins. That's just a fact. Okay, they are one of the best teams in the last decade. They're one of the only teams to actually go to multiple Super Bowls. Okay, it's just the 49ers, the Rams, and the Chiefs. Technically the Patriots, but they no longer have Tom Brady, so it's not really it's not really relevant. That's Tom Brady. So, and even the Rams is a tough one because it was 2 different quarterbacks. But that just shows you how great of a coach Sean McVay is. But besides that is that's what it is. And again, the Eagles have done it with 2 different head coaches and 2 different quarterbacks. And Shannon has done it with 2 different quarterbacks. So it's just crazy. Really, the only consistent team has been the Patrick Mahomes, obviously, and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. And those guys keep going to the Super Bowl. And then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, and they don't make the acquisitions that they need. I've said this now in a couple of videos recently, but again, look at the Eagles. The Eagles went out and got A.J. Brown. They said, we need more help. They went out and got A.J. Brown, a couple other pieces, immediately led to a Super Bowl. The Rams, they said, we need another quarterback. They got Stafford, and they knew that still wasn't enough. They went out and got OBJ. They went out and got Von Miller in the middle of the season. That directly led to a Super Bowl win. The 49ers said, we need help. We need more people. They went out and paid for Christian McCaffrey. Got him. That led to a Super Bowl. That's what leads to success. You got to do the things that you need to do. Okay? And the Cowboys don't do that. They think they think that they can just keep drafting people, or that their players are good enough, or that they're confident in what they can do. And if you're a Cowboys fan, I actually feel for you, because you're seeing all these other teams be aggressive and make moves, and they don't do it. The Cowboys could have made a play for A.J. Brown a couple years ago. They didn't do it. The Cowboys could have made a play and got Saquon Barkley. They didn't do it. They're just like, they don't do the things that they need to do. The Cowboys could have gotten Christian McCaffrey. They could have made a play and got Von Miller. I mean, all of these players were available to be grabbed. I mean, they just were. There was nothing uniquely special about the Eagles at the time, or about the 49ers at the time. Technically, they weren't paying their quarterback a ton of money, although at the time, the Garoppolo was commanding, legitimate money. I don't remember exactly how the salary cap looked at those times, but my point is that the Cowboys easily could have made moves. And now it's only getting harder because they have to pay Dak, they have to pay Micah, they have to pay CeeDee Lamb. Who's available? One of the only really good wide receivers out there who's available, who can actually make a difference, is T. Higgins. And T. Higgins isn't going to want to come to the Cowboys because, one, they can't afford him because he wants top dollar. And I think he also wants to be the number 1 receiver. So he's not going to want to be second to CeeDee Lamb. Otherwise, he would just stay with the Cincinnati Bengals because he would probably get comparable money, comparable receptions, and have a significantly better quarterback thrown to them in Joe Burrow. I hate to break the news to you, but Joe Burrow is a way better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Just the reality. So, I really don't know what the Cowboys do in this situation, because it seems like some of the moves that they could have made or should have made have already passed. It's hard for me to imagine, unless they get so lucky, and they draft someone who is just, a couple players who are just out of this world, like no one saw coming. And outside of that, I'm just not seeing it. I'm truly, truly not. I think the defense will take a step back, and I think the offense will take a step back. And I think the other teams got better. The Eagles got better. The Commanders got better. The Packers got better. The Detroit Lions got better. These teams either got better because they're either getting other players or they're just more mature now. You know, you're talking about teams that were pretty young or with very young, inexperienced players who are now older, more mature, more experienced, better coached, ready to go. So they are going to be better, right? And again, if everyone else is getting better and you're not, then you're getting worse, you know? So that's the way football pretty much always is. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse, because most of the time you don't always continue this trajectory. Yes, the Cowboys had this great offense, high flying, although I've said a million times it was all against bad teams. The idea that they're going to be able to do that again is just silly from my viewpoint. And if we looked at the teams right now, all on paper, strictly on paper, not knowing how any of these teams are going to play, don't know what the health is going to be, do you really see the Cowboys beating the Packers, the Detroit Lions, the 49ers, any of these games in the playoffs? I do not see it. The Eagles, the only reason why I would even give a hesitation, and again, I'm a big Eagles fan, I think that the Eagles will win. The only reason why I give a question mark for that game is that because the Eagles and the Cowboys always play competitively. So if they did happen to face each other in the playoffs, and again, just strictly looking at paper, I could see it being a coin flip, because it's just like, to me, it probably comes down to one of those games where, one, where is it, home or away? Or also, do we get any of these fluke situations with, like, you know, a crazy fumble or just, you know, a terrible sack that, you know, pushes a team out of, you know, field goal, you know, just one of these more random plays that can really determine the outcome of a game. But besides that, I just don't see who the Cowboys can win. And by chance of them making it to the Super Bowl somehow, because every other team just gets mass injuries, do you really think the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl with this team that they have and the coaching staff that they have? I don't see it. So if you're a Cowboys fan, I genuinely feel for you, because I know how much you guys care about the Cowboys. I know how much you want to win. I know how much you believe in your team and you want to see them make moves. And it's got to be tough to see all these other teams being aggressive, making moves, getting better, and you're just simply not. So if you're a Cowboys fan, I definitely want to hear from you. I would love to know what you guys are all thinking right now. What are your thoughts? Either way, whether you're a Cowboys fan or not, let me know. Do you guys think that the Cowboys need to be more aggressive? Do you think that they're smart for kind of like, you know, standing pat, and that they're going to be making moves down the road? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.